Call the Shakopee City Council meeting to order for March 19th, 2024. Please take the roll.
Councilmember Delaney. Here. Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
Councilmember Contreras.
Here.
Councilmember Lara.
Here.
Mayor Lehman.
Here. Number 2, stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Changes to the agenda.
Nothing from staff, sir.
Nothing. Nope.
Can we add a thing on here to schedule a fire workshop? Or do I just do that under other business?
Yeah, we had planned on doing that, Mayor. We were just trying to find a time to do it, but yeah, we can.
No changes to the agenda?
No.
Okay. None from staff. Motion would be in order.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Councilor Contreras, second by Councilor Delaney. Discussion on the motion. Discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Consent agenda. Any changes to the consent?
Nothing from staff, sir.
Council? Mr. Lara?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Councilor Lara, second by Councilor Contreras. Any discussion on the motion? Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Oh,
Mayor?
Reynolds, now that we passed it, you want to go ahead and read it?
I will do that, sir. Good evening, members of council. These are the consent of business agenda items for March 19th of 2024. 4A1 are the city council minutes. 4A2, the certification of delinquent sewer and storm drainage accounts. 4A3 is a FEMA staffing for adequate fire and emergency response grant application, which is commonly called a SAFER grant. 4A4 is fire administration reorganization. 4A5 is legislative citizen commission on Minnesota Resources, Environment, and Natural Resources Trust Fund Program grant application. We really need to tell people to get their grants to be a little, the titles are a little shorter.
that was lengthy. Yeah.
What?
Their grants titles be a little shorter, and
Oh, sure.
That was a
and,
word.
and actually you can tell what it is when you read it. But anyway,
That's probably the whole department
hard
that
to get a
decided
good-
how to name them, you know?
Yeah.
Hard to get a good acronym that way.
Yeah.
4A6 is the wireless access replacement. 4A7 is the appointment of a new human resources director. 4A8 is the affordable housing legislation. 4B1 is parking lot BMP at Lewis Street and 2nd Ave. Approve the plans and authorize the bidding. 4B2 is CR78 pedestrian underpass. Approve the plans and authorize bidding. 4B3 is the Canterbury Commons internal roadways. Approve plans and authorize bidding. And 4B4 is the cooperative maintenance agreement with Scott County for CR6978 roundabout. And finally, 4C1 is an award for a contract for the entry sign for Lions Park.
Reynolds, since we did pass that, we'll move on to number 5. Number 5 is recognition of citizens that would like to address the city council on an item not on the agenda. Anybody here that would like to address the council on an item not on the agenda? Now would be that time. I see none, so we will move on to 6. Items removed from the consent agenda, which there are none, takes us to 7A1. Monthly financial review. Mr. Finance Director.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Should be a relatively short. A couple months into the calendar year. So this slide here shows the general fund activity through February, so 17% through the year. This early in the year, numbers can be skewed because of timing. You know, one or two large payments or receipts will obviously have an impact on results. Just wanted to touch base on a couple items. So on the revenue side, taxes and special assessments, as we've discussed previously, those will remain at 0 until we receive our first half settlement, which is in June. And then if you look at fines and forfeits, which are currently showing as exceeding budget targets, As part of our agreement with Scott County for prosecution services, the court fine revenue is pledged towards paying these costs, which previously the city would net court fine revenue with the prosecution costs for accounting purposes. So in other words, as the money came in, we recorded it as a revenue, and then when we submitted that to the county, it actually came out of the revenue amount, so it netted with that amount. But based on auditor recommendation, the city will be separating the court fine revenue and prosecution expenses. So no net impact on overall cost, but will be more transparent as you'll see both the revenue come in and the expense side too. The expense is recorded within the police department as prosecution cost expenses. In total, for the expenditure side, we're within our budget target. And all departments are reasonably within their budget parameters at this point in time. I did want to mention that we'll probably bring back a budget amendments once union contracts get settled, and then we'll adjust the court fine revenue as well to kind of show those two things. But that is about all I have for the monthly finance report, and I can stand for any questions you might have.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? Kudos to council. It looks like you're at 7%, which is the lowest of all expenditures in departments.
We should spend some.
Thank you.
We'll have to adjust that budget next year.
Better spend
We have to have more fun, right? Let's see, 7B1, review the concept of Jackson Commons. Mr. Kurski.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So this is just an overview of the Jackson Commons Park, which is in Jackson Township. This currently is out on Social Pinpoint. We're getting feedback from this initial concept. This was presented to the Jackson Township Board and endorsed. Since they do own the land, they had some discussion over the original design, which we've made some slight modifications. This will give you an idea of the scope and size of this park. So this is the brand new road that was just put in. The trail underpass that you just approved the plans for tonight is over here. This is the two large stormwater ponds. This is the new trail that D.R. Horton has already in the process of building, because that's where the new city sewer line was installed. So this was the original concept that was presented to the township, and we got some feedback from them. This is the current concept that we're working on. The big changes are they suggested there's a lot of topography in this area, that there's the potential to do a sledding hill here in the winter, having a more flexible lawn area, reorienting a little bit of the bike area, and then we did eliminate, excuse me, going around this pond at all, because eventually this road will get widened and the trail would have been eliminated. And they also requested a connection back to the existing neighborhood, so this trail here was extended over. The dash lines are not paved trails, but more natural trails, and I'll show you some pictures of what that's going to look like. So one of the things was to restore some of this area back to a oak savanna, and then provide some opportunities here. So a shelter, hammock grows, which have actually received a lot of good feedback as part of the Social Pinpoint, as again, having a flexible open lawn area. Benches were a big part of the township. They wanted a lot of benches along the trails for people to be able to stop. And then having a unique playground. So this is, excuse me, a playground from Compan. That's one of our newer vendors. This was actually just a concept they had, and we've asked them to go ahead and price this out to actually install it, but having sort of a agricultural theme, since this was a pretty large farm in its day. So these are actually pretty large scale, and this is for older children, this piece over here, and this is for smaller children. And again, one of the things the township, and we've gotten a lot of feedback on Social Pinpoint, is people wanted some type of hill with a slide, so that's what this represents. And then some more features like this tractor, which is actually pretty large, that has a slide off the back. And then this will give you an idea of the kind of trails we're looking at. So this would be the paved trails for both walking and bike riding, and then some more of these natural trails that we use for people jogging or dog walking. So this would probably be some kind of decomposed granite that we would spray to ensure the woodland area didn't grow into this. And then again, promoting some biking, and then some more universal trails for biking. And then this is the bike area, so a tot kind of skill area. And then what's come across as part of the Social Pinpoint is people really want something kind of intermediate, so not that difficult, but something a little bit more challenged than just having a few hills. So we're looking at a couple of different concepts. This might end up being paved in some areas, but then more natural areas around the trail. And then wintertime activities was important from both our feedback on Social Pinpoint and also from the township. So the ability to do snow skiing or snowshoeing on those more natural trails, be able to walk on the paved trails. And then, as you know, the winter pond golf tournament occurs here. Being able to do mountain biking on some of the fat tire courses. This occurs a lot right now on the trails that are in Quarry Lake. And then here's a sledding hill that, because of the contours, we'll be able to do. So again, we're on the Social Pinpoint site right now. We're working on a mass grading plan and then coordinating seeding and restoration with Scott Soil and Water Conservation District. So they are looking to get this graded, and then this will be seeded with annual oats to make sure we don't have any erosion. And then this fall, they would seed this with both pollinator and oak savanna. And then at the end of next year is when we actually would do the planting, so it would give the grasses in such a year to grow in.
Questions? Mr. Lara?
Some feedback I've received from residents before is a desire for an additional dog park. Do you think there's an ability to, because we have one over on Southbridge, do we have an ability to incorporate one on this side of town?
Mayor and Council, there's a dog park that we're in final plans right now. It'll be off Marystown Road by the school.
Oh, okay.
We're actually doing some redesign on it right now because the feedback we're getting from the dog owners is they would prefer to have artificial turf in some of the areas because they've been finding the dogs kind of tear up the natural grass. So it's getting redesigned right now, and that should be under construction probably late summer, early fall.
Okay. And then my other question is on the winter scene, you noted cross-country trails. Is that something the city has, do we maintain any other cross-country trails within the city? Would this be our first one? Would we be doing it, the county? Who would be?
Mayor and Council, so when we say they would be more kind of natural, so you can see these areas down here where it'll be some sort of gravel type surface, that's where people would be doing their skiing. They would not be groomed.
Okay. That's it.
Mr. Delaney?
I was going to ask how much trail do we have, or how much trail is going in as far as lengthwise?
So the asphalt trail, Mayor and Council, are 8 feet. These are about 6 feet for the gravel trails.
I mean, total, like mile, how?
It's I think just a little over 2 miles total.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No question.
All right, the question I have is the park dedication received from this housing project going toward this park, and is how much is this concept going to cost, and what part of the dollars are going to the pedestrian tunnel?
So there's, I believe, about $1 million dedicated to the pedestrian tunnel. This park's about $3 million.
And the dollars coming off as park dedication from the project?
Just over $3 million. Plus there's lots yet to be developed on the other side of the road that are on the other side of the D.R. Horton subdivision that we'll still collect additional park dedication from.
And will we put some of them dollars toward this then and not put a park?
I can't
So
hear you.
will we use some of them future park dedication dollars then toward this?
Yeah, Mayor, yes. So this is I'll call it there's two regional parks in this area. One will be a more natural park that'll be the Bluff. That'll just have a trail through it, no equipment or bike riding or anything. It'll just be a nature trail. And more to preserve that bluff. This is the other side. This is a much more active, kind of a larger park. So this would be the equivalent of kind of a Lions Park for this entire area.
Okay, and then the last question would be the actual Jackson Township park that's currently there on the corner. What's the future
So
of that?
Mayor and Council, that park will stay. So let's see, this is the better picture. So this is that parking lot. So we are making a trail connection into that parking lot. So there is a small parking lot in this, but there's also, they have a much larger parking lot. So if there were some kind of event or more heavy usage, they understand people will be parking in this parking lot. And they have a very small playground and I think pickleball courts and then a baseball diamond that the city actually maintains.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Whiting.
I was going to mention it's pickleball and the fields will be maintained by the city. There's also a building there for the community building.
That current
for the
building.
Township building. That'll remain.
Mayor and Council, yes, and actually one of the things that they're working on the grading plan right now, that's actually has a potential to flood. So they're looking at, as part of this basin and some of the rework, keeping that out of the flood area. One of the things, Bill Delaney, our landscape architect and senior planner, was out here. There's a lot of junk and rocks over the years that have been dumped in this area. As part of this project, that's all going to get pulled out so that this water body will be a little bit more natural.
Nice.
So just to be clear, people will be able to use both parking lots. There's one over here on the west side
Yep.
by the playground. They'll be able to use both parking lots for these trails and features and whatnot.
Mayor and Council, that's correct.
Okay. Councilor Contreras?
Yep, thank you. Just a reminder to our public that there will be, correct, a site for input if someone is a resident around there or are interested in.
Mayor and Council, that's correct. There's a social pinpoint which we've been using, kind of got purchased and upgraded, so we have a whole site that has all this on it. People can put their comments on it.
Perfect.
I think we already have probably 50 or 60 comments.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mr. Whiting?
Just a couple comments. I like the concept of the agriculture theme. You know, that's we did a little bit of that with the Green Observatory, over in the other park. But this is different. It's nice, and I'm also glad that we kept the township board involved and they had their input. Any other comments from the township?
I think Mayor and Council, Mr. Reynolds was there. He can chime in. I think we met all of their expectations.
Yeah, they were very pleased with the concept and no issues at all.
Good, good, thank you.
Restrooms.
Mayor and Council, we're not doing restrooms. We're going to BIFs. Given the issues we've had with
Right.
restrooms elsewhere in the city, we're going to stick with BIFs.
And then I assume bigger events that the township building might be open for using that restroom? Maybe, maybe not, no?
Yeah.
I don't want to speculate when they would open their building.
Use it.
They use it for the pond
They
hockey tournament.
traditionally do.
Yeah.
Okay,
You can rent it, I think,
right.
for events.
Yep, but there will be bathrooms.
Mayor and Council, the other thing we are looking at is providing a water fountain. So there's a water line in this area, and the engineers are taking a look at to see whether it's feasible to put a water fountain in.
Okay,
Good. Thank
any
you.
other questions, staff? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Item 7B2, review concept of Killarney Hills Park. All right, let's do this again.
So this is a locational map to give you kind of an idea. So this is the Summerland development here. These are all townhouses that Lennar is in the process of finishing off. Then there's a very large apartment complex here developed by a different division of Lennar called the Emblem Apartments. This is the actual site we're going to be looking at, Killarney Hills, that will service this entire neighborhood and this apartment complex. as part of all this development. So we've got trails that run through the back here and through the neighborhood that connect over to this park. And when the emblem was done, there's sidewalks that have been put in to allow them to get over here. So this is going in the way back. This is when the park was actually dedicated over to the city. There is a large easement for power lines for Xcel Energy, so the park's kind of cut in half. These will give you some pictures. The majority of these pardon me?
Let's back up one
Yep.
slide. Okay, so the shaded area is park dedicated. How about to the west of that where the half circle that's white on this map?
This park?
Yes.
Yep, this is actually all park.
Okay.
This is a part that we feel is usable because it's outside of the easement.
The shaded area is the easement for the high power lines?
Correct.
Okay. Carry on, sorry.
That's okay.
That's the last page.
And so this is just some shots. So we'll be installing, you'll see in the concept plan, sidewalks along this side of the street to connect down to a trail that's down here that I have a photo of. And the majority of these trees will be going away. They're either ash or not in very good shape. But here's that trail connection that connects into the new subdivision. So you'll cross the street, and there'll be a sidewalk. And here you can see the power lines, pretty substantial power lines going through the area. And here's the Emblem Apartments. You can see how close they are. They're literally just around the corner from this subdivision, from this park. And then this is a pretty large grove of evergreens that really block this section of the neighborhood off from both the road and the park. Again, here's another, give you an idea. So here's a new sidewalk that's already been put in that connects over to this apartment complex. So here's a concept plan that we'll be putting out in Social Pinpoint. This was actually done by Bill Delaney, our landscape architect, but a playground for 2 age ranges, and some open lawn area, new trees along the roadway here, a buffer from these houses over here of kind of the more active area, and then taking the easement from Xcel, which is this whole area here and down in here, and working again with the Soil and Water Conservation District to plant this, similar to what we did out in Windermere with more prairie and pollinator so that it doesn't have to be mowed anymore. And that's worked out pretty well, and Xcel supports that because they don't really like having regular grass underneath their power lines, and we didn't really want children and other people using this area because it's right under the power lines.
Do we have to work about any kind of fire danger of prairie grasses underneath the power lines?
Mayor and council, so we don't burn the grasses that are under the power lines, we mow them.
I was thinking the power lines catching the prairie grasses on fire.
They're pretty high up. These are not 6 feet tall, these are shorter. And this is the playground equipment. Again, I said that we've done 2 pieces here, so this is 2 to 5 year old. You can see this is different motions that can occur on the playground equipment. And then this is a piece that has a pretty substantial tower. There's some great views as you get up here. So imagine the power lines are way over here. So, excuse me. This is for 5 to 12 year olds. They get a pretty good view. And there's a couple of slides here and some other activities for kids.
Almost 30 feet tall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Happy to answer questions.
Questions of staff?
No.
And since this property was acquired way back.
Way
and-
back,
and I-
1977, I think.
And I know there was some concern by the neighbors, the single family across where you've got the buffer there, when this development to the south was coming in. Have we sought input from them folks too?
Mayor and council, this will be up on Social Pinpoint, and we're going to do similar. We'll send out postcards with a QR code and a web address so people can log on and provide comments to us, along with Bill Delaney's email. So if they just want to email him a comment, they can.
Cost for this park is being paid for from park dedication from,
From all of that,
New construction.
So this apartment complex here has paid in, and then all of these homes are paying in right now.
And what's the cost of this concept?
I believe it's 600,000.
Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, good.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
You.
Long overdue on that one.
Yeah, that one's been, although, you know, if you ask the residents out there prior to the development, they were okay with it staying the way it was.
I think the comments was, we don't want those people in our park.
Well, they were having the benefit of just a nice quiet space for themselves.
Well,
That takes us to 8A, city bill list.
No questions for me.
No questions either.
Questions this side? None? Okay. 8B, liaison administration reports. Which side did we start last time?
This side. So
We
you
started here,
Yeah,
or
we
we,
started on this side.
so we're over here this time?
You had nothing.
All right, as far as
Did I
169.
get that right?
Better read.
All right.
he's going now. Go ahead.
Let's go ahead. Okay, 169 Coalition. We contracted with SRF to put a list of our priorities together, get together our stakeholders, and just so we can get feedback from everybody before we pursue that for the next legislative session. We do have an all-members meeting coming up in May. We're inviting the 494 Coalition is being invited to do a presentation. At that time, we're also going to emphasize the importance of getting all the information back in as far as what their city or their region's priorities are as far as 169, so we can get all that together. Key thing is making, if we're surveying everybody, but unless everybody participates, the study kind of falls apart. As far as SPUC, we had a workshop, talked about favorite topic, backflow prevention. We also talked about line protection insurance, a discussion with a vendor called HomeServe. They gave some options for insurance. We're basically looking whether they're going to have that in-house or contracted out or get a vendor for it. We also talked through a joint city SPUC inspection venture, which our engineer was there, and I think it's a great idea. And it makes it more efficient, cost-effective. I think WSB would be the vendor. I think that would be coming back to council at some point. Yeah, I think that's a great idea when they brought that up. We talked through the water treatment sites, gravel pit, a Cigna property area over there. That's it as far as SPUC. As far as other activities, I went through EMT at scale. This is the second session, so that was actually very informative and pretty interesting. And that's about it.
Question,
Yes.
line protection insurance, is that what you called it?
Yep.
Is that for the utilities infrastructure?
It would be from I think up to the main. I think right now we halt at the meter, if I'm not mistaken. And that would cover if something happened and they had to rip into the ground, and they would have insurance so it wouldn't fall on the homeowner.
We're talking about water.
They would have several options, talk about water, sewer, so various.
From like we called the curb stop to the house,
Yeah.
it's not covered. So is that what you're
That's- yeah.
suggesting?
The same with how about the power line from the alley to the house?
Now that we didn't,
That's a homeowner though.
we didn't deep
No,
dive
that's a
into that.
utility deal. It's on their easements or their stuff up to the meter. It's on the meter side.
Yeah, we didn't dive too much into that topic, no.
Okay.
Jim, did the 169 Coalition, did they talk about that public meeting that MnDOT's putting on?
The one with Met Council next month?
No, so here, if you want, I can read it if you'd like.
Oh, sure, yeah.
So I saw that MnDOT posted for March 26th, there's going to be a public meeting at the Scale Regional Public Safety Training Facility from 4:30 to 6:30. And it's for the 169 Jordan to Shakopee Improvement Project. So it would, I think what they say, it starts at Marystown or Old Brick Yard.
That's
For
we have
us.
we have an overlay portion going to happen out there.
Yeah. So it's gonna, yeah. So that I'd mention if people want to go.
Oh, that wasn't brought up, but yeah.
Really? That's surprising.
You know what's going to be discussed at that meeting? It's the takeaway of a lot of the accesses in the past, but as far as I know, it's supposed to be an overlay project. It's getting and it is getting kind of rough out there. So hopefully they can schedule it after some of the heavy work is done, so that the heavy work doesn't hurt their overlay project.
The new work.
Coordination. Mr. Whiting?
Hold on.
That's it?
Okay, all right. I have nothing to report. I do want to mention MVTA, the 4Fun bus is back rolling again. So that does service Shakopee for some of our different venues. It seems early. Hey, it's
495 or something like that? I can't
I'm
remember the
not
number
going
on
to
it.
jump on the numbers. There is some other expansions coming up, but they may not take place for a while yet of some of our services.
You know, the one good positive about bus rapid transit is it's flexible, and you can just change the route to serve changing trends.
And we're servicing a lot of micro transit, of course, not in Shakopee, but some of the more what we used to call dial-a-ride that's happening in some of the other suburbs. And as I mentioned in the past, we're scheduled for an update from MVTA, and we'll talk about some of those things that MVTA serves for Shakopee. So we'll get an update it's on the calendar and coming up.
And rideshare is going up again?
The
Last I read,
ridership, yeah, ridership is going up, yep.
I think I read that somewhere. Thank you, Mr. Whiting. Councilor Contreras.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have any liaisons to report, but on the 8th, I did attend the women's series with the chamber. And on the 9th, it was Saturday, I attended the National Latino Peace Officers monthly meeting. That was pretty cool to see, and I actually joined, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, you can arrest me now.
And that's it. You don't have to be an officer.
I also was invited to the National Latino Peace Officers Association, the Minnesota chapter, that was on Saturday, so it was good to see everyone that comes out and supports that. It was like all over from the metro. I mean, we had police officers from St. Paul, all up north, and then Chief Tate and the sheriff was there, and so it's good to see. Last Thursday, I went to a chamber networking lunch at Pablo's. Good to connect with local businesses and hearing what they have going on, and if there's any ways that we could partner with them. And then this Friday, just want to remind everybody that the chamber is putting on their Red, White, and Brews event at Canterbury. Tickets are still available on their website, so come check that out. And then lastly, the Parks and Rec Department wants to advertise their egg hunt and candy grab for Saturday, March 23rd at Tapa Park this year. So I think one year was at Huber, 1 year was at Lions, and now it's at Tapa Park, 1 to 2:30, and no registration is needed because it's a free event. So bring your bag and basket for goodies, and there'll be candy, games, crafts, and more. And it's going to be outdoors, so rain, snow, shine, dress for the weather.
Is there an
Did I get
age
it all?
limit on that, or can old people like me go grab a handful
You're
of
the
candy?
mayor, you can get away with it.
You're going to
Come
mow
on.
down some toddler.
We could probably take a moment and put that on that X up there and see if we can't get it out into the public.
And it's nice to see that it's free. Normally it it used to be $5. We must have got sponsors or something, right?
Some good sponsors.
$55. We used to do registration, that kind of came out of COVID. Should we have some sponsors or?
Very nice. Well, thank you to those sponsors.
There you go.
Very good. Thank you, staff.
And
Anything else,
sponsors,
Mr.
thanks.
Nope,
That's it. Thank you.
My report, March 6th, Mr. Reynolds and I went to the MLC meeting at the Hennepin County Medical, Hennepin, Scott, and one other county. It was at the medical examiner's new facility. Hot topic of the MLC obviously was housing, right? I thought it was a pretty good meeting, a lot of feedback from a lot of different folks. I think that I would have to say that probably 9 out of 10 were pretty frustrated with what's being proposed. Mr. Reynolds didn't stay. I got the free tour of the place along with some other folks.
How was it?
It was good. Obviously, there was nothing that going on for
There's no demonstrations.
no. Thank God for that. But looking at the facility, it's a very nice facility. They built it to be able to build out as the need arises with population increase and stuff. A lot of good technology in the building. A lot of that building was built to hide into the surrounding with the textures and colors and stuff, so they were pretty cognizant of the
Where is it
surroundings.
located?
It is located on County 62, east of just west of 35, is
Correct.
that right?
Yeah.
I took the back way, so I didn't take the 35, I took the back way in. It's kind of set back, you know, it's its own little thing, I mean, but it is pretty state-of-the-art, so it's kind of cool. 3-6, I was at Scott County Courthouse for the county primary canvassing. Didn't know I had to do that, but I did it. 3-9, walked the Hackberry Trail that some residents came here and spoke to us about. Not a whole lot of wiggle room there. It's a big steep drop off. There's probably a little bit of ability to move in some spaces where it's tight to the neighbors, but there's also some drainage pipes that I noticed. I don't think I've ever seen a city trail with a drain in the middle of it, you know, so I would assume we have to go around some of that stuff. What else did we have? 3-13, was at the RTF for the emergency management training. Mr. Delaney called it EMT.
This is not you?
It's emergency management.
Emergency management.
And then 3-15, I had an interview with Mr. Reynolds and the HR director that Councilor Lara interviewed for the council and made a recommendation, which we approved tonight. And that's all I have. Mr. Reynolds?
Nothing from staff, sir.
That takes us to number 9, other business.
Nope.
This side. I would like to see if we can't, is there a date that we can all nail down for a fireworks shop? Or do we want to just let staff work on that? Because we'll kind of make sure staff is there too, right?
I can set something out, send something out tomorrow. Next week, we have our affordable housing workshop. I don't know what everyone's availability is in April, but I'll do that first thing, and then we'll get that nailed down.
Okay. And then just a thought that I wanted to share under other business, and doesn't mean anything. I just thought it's nice just to share what others are thinking. And I'm thinking about 2025's budget.
That's summer stuff.
That's summer
We
stuff?
just hit spring.
Well,
I actually do have something.
go ahead.
So I had a social engagement on Saturday where I spent most of the day with about 5 or 6 different families, all whose taxes went down this year. And they were exceptionally happy with me, and I said, well, you know, I'm a very small piece of the puzzle. I go, but it's always been the council's determination that we're a fiscally conservative organization, and we're going to do what we can to make sure that the impact upon residents is as little as possible. I presume that 90% or 95%, I guess, Nate, of the, and my housing value went up, and I still had a tax cut. You know, most of the people out there got a tax cut this year too. So when you mentioned budget, it kind of triggered it for me, because this staff and council has always been cognizant of the budget. It is one of the things, if you look at our agendas, when it talks about key strategies, financial stability is number 1. And that's been that way since I've been here. So I think it's important that, you know, all of the residents in the city understand that that is always going to be a concern of ours. Obviously, there's a balance. You know, we could be have no taxes and have no police, no fire, and provide no public services. Everything's a balance. So, sorry, Mayor, didn't mean to cut you off.
But if I could add to his comment, though, we do have some needs in our future.
Well, absolutely.
And
We have,
that cannot always be the lowest tax, or that always going down, because we have some police that are going to need some
Well, and that's,
buffering, and some firefighting
fire
we've
department,
talked
yeah.
about that's going to need
and that's
some
why I
help, too.
brought it up. We have 3 unions. We have fire stuff that we're going to talk about. We don't know what this housing thing is going to do to us. There's a lot of things that we can't control, but there are things that we can control, and we can, you know, prioritize. So just something that I think about every now and then, and it's not a bad idea for everybody to think about.
Yep.
I think about it every day, and from my perspective, literally that is the key driving force for me in this organization, and always has been, is fiscal conservatism. It will not change.
See what the state does for us.
What's that?
We'll see what the state does for us.
That we're dealt with.
Right. All right. Anybody else? This side? brings us to number 10. And that is the workshop night, March 26th. So come comfortable. It's going to be a laid-back, relaxed, just an open discussion.
And at 6. Yeah.
Yes, it's at 6 p.m.
So do we stream workshops, or those,
Yeah.
Excuse me?
are workshops streamed, or?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Everything we do is
Public.
public view.
I'm wearing a T-shirt, my hat, and I'm going to be as laid-back as possible. It's just a good conversation to have everybody just kind of get your thoughts out there on that particular topic. And
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to adjourn to Tuesday, March 26th at 6 p.m. Sorry, did I beat you?
I'll second. I don't get
Mr. Whiting, seconded by Mr. Lara. Any discussion? Discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.